Hey there, welcome back to another review. This time of a film that I'd been curious about because I'd seen the trailer for it and I thought it was a pretty cool bit where Kristen Bell and Bill Hader, they were doing a little karaoke bit on uh, on Starships, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now from the Mannequin movie soundtrack. So I had a lot of fun with that, and it looked like it was a well shot film, and I was curious about it because I was really interested to see what these two actors would do with a serious role, and because they're more well known for being comedic actors, they're SNL alums. They're actors who are known for their comedy, not for their dramatic acting. And I'm always curious to see comedians branch out to see what they can do with something other than comedy. And so I just recently checked out this film. I checked this film out today, and of course the film is The Skeleton Twins, and it's a 2014 film. It pretty much came and went. It came out in January at the Sundance Film Festival. Came out had a September release in 2014. Did nothing in the box office. It's made for about $1 million. Only made about 5.7 million. It's never going to be a film that was going to make that much money anyway, because it's definitely not a film for everyone. But anyway, this is a film that's directed by Craig Johnson. It's also written by Craig Johnson and Mark Heyman. It stars Bill Hader and Kristen Wiig. Luke Wilson is also in it, in a bit role as Kristen Wiig's her character Maggie Dean. He plays her husband. Yeah, Bill Hader plays her brother Milo. You have Ty Burrell, who's in Modern Family. He's Rich, who's Milo's former teacher, who he had an affair with. With Milo in high school, which is definitely pretty heavy stuff. And you also have Boyd Holbrook, who plays Billy, Maggie's scuba instructor. Joanna Gleeson plays Maggie Milo's mother. And then, that's pretty much the cast. It's a small cast, but it's a pretty small film. But it deals with a lot of real human issues. This is a very human film. And that's a lot of reasons why I like the movie. It's not a film for everybody because it deals with a lot of heavy subject matter. It's a film that is definitely pretty depressing. You go through a lot of emotions while watching this movie. It's definitely not a film I'd recommend to people who are depressed. Definitely don't watch it while you're depressed because it'd probably only make you even more depressed. And I could see why it's a film that some people just can't deal with because of the subject matter that is covered in this film is definitely going to hit a little bit too close to home for some people. But I thought it was a well acted, well directed, well put together drama with some funny moments. But I thought it was, for the most part, it was a straight up drama. So it's dealing with some real issues. And I definitely do believe this film was mismarketed. The trailers made it look like it's just a comedy. Even the reviews are like, "Oh, Kristen Wiig, she's back to her bridesmaids days." And I'm like, it's not anything like Bridesmaids. If you go into the Skeleton Twins, and I know I'm late on this because this film came out in 2014, but if you go into this movie expecting something like Bridesmaids, wow, you're gonna be shocked because you're not gonna get that. There's a few moments that definitely made me laugh. And it does have some really genuinely warm and touching moments in it, but it's also a very heavy movie. It deals with a lot of fucked up shit, and it deals with characters who have fucked up lives as well. So, yeah, but part of that, it drew me in because it's not your typical drama. It's not your typical, oh, everything's okay, everything's all right, everything ties up in a pretty bow at the end. It's a film that has an edge to it that definitely might turn some people off, but to me, that added to the film, and it became a very captivating movie to me. Like it was a train wreck. These people's lives are train wrecks, but it felt like Well, it just made me appreciate my own life more because I'm like, well, first off, if I ever feel like things are as shitty as in my life as these characters do, I can take solace in the fact that I'm not alone. Second, if my life isn't nearly as bad as these characters are, which it isn't, then I can really put things into that can put things into perspective for my own life. I can appreciate my own life even more and realize that hey, I think I think my life is fucked up. It's nowhere near as fucked up as theirs. Their lives are. So, yeah, it's a film that can make you appreciate things in your life and in a way that you might not have thought about before without seeing it. But it's definitely one of those films that you have to be in the right mood for. Now, it's a straightforward film. It deals with this relationship between these two siblings, between Milo and Maggie, and they were really close when they were kids. So close that they had, nicknames for themselves, the skeleton twins. I mean, they even tattooed skeletons on their bodies to symbolize that bond that they had with each other. Well, a tragedy happens within the family. Their father commits suicide. There's this stuff dealing with Milo, who is gay, and he has an affair with his English teacher, and he's 15, and so this causes a crazy amount of turmoil, as it would within the family, and we don't really know for sure if his dad committed suicide because of what was going on with him and his teacher or not, but that's what causes this rift between these twins. And the film opens up with a really it definitely hits you it hits you right in the gut from the beginning. It does not pull any punches. Milo's character tries to commit suicide. He tries to kill himself. He writes a suicide note. You see something's gone wrong with maybe a relationship he had with a guy with someone that he loved, a man that he loved, and so he ends up trying to slit his wrists. And at the same time, his sister, who's played by Kristen Wiig, is thinking about doing the same thing, popping some pills and ending it all as well. But she gets a phone call from the hospital saying your brother is hospital, and she comes in and sees if he's doing all right, and she basically offers him she's like, okay, do you want to come stay with me in New York? I with my husband, and I have a spare bedroom, and so he decides to do that, and so you have this kind of so the relationship between the two of them starts to mend again. It starts off rocky as it would because they haven't really seen each other or kept in contact. They haven't really done anything with each other in 10 years. And so, but as the film goes along, they start to build up their relationship again, and they realize how important they are to each other. And that's kind of what I thought the whole premise of the film was, is to show how important uh relationships like between your brother and your between brother and sister are for people's lives. I thought that's kind of what the point of the film was, at least to me, was showing how important it is to communicate with one another, to keep in contact with someone, because what ends up happening pretty much is her brother saves her life. So that's kind of how I looked at it as was, well, they need each other in order to survive. And that's the case for some people. They need someone, whether it's their mother, whether it's their brother, in this film's case, or a friend. They need that special someone in order to make it through life, and it's not always going to be perfect. It's not going to be a fairy tale, and that's definitely really a point that's hammered home in this film. And even at the end of the movie, it's not really a happy ending. It's just an ending, which I'll get to a little bit later. But it definitely does solidify the idea that a special bond, like the bond that you have between, you know, your sister and you, or if you're a brother, or that type of special bond that's only only can be found between a brother and a sister, or between best friends, or between a mother and her son, or her daughter, or her father and his son, and so on. um, it really does bring to light how important that bond is, and how much it means to uh, a lot of the people that are involved with that bond. The bond is very important, and once that bond is broken, it's hard for these individuals to survive on their own. That's kind of how I looked at it. And there's this repeated imagery of these goldfish in the film, and Bill Hader's character likes goldfish, and there's a scene where Kristen Wiig is trying to surprise him and get some goldfish for him, but she forgets about the goldfish. She leaves them in their bags, and forgets to put them in the aquarium, and they die, and she's trying to bring them back to life, and she's frustrated, and it doesn't work out. And I look at that as totally an allegory to her life at that point. It's fucked up, and this is what her life is right now. She keeps trying to not deal with it. It's fucked up, but she doesn't want to admit that it is, and so she's trying to force things to fix themselves when they can't. The fish in this particular sequence, the fish are dead. They're not coming back to life. That's happened. You need to deal with that. There's no way you're not gonna get around this. You're not gonna be able to do some way to resuscitate them or bring them back to life and make everything okay. That's not going to happen. The fish are dead, and your life is fucked up right now, and you need to figure things out. And that's I think that there's a lot of symbolism in this film that deals with stuff like that. And then even the movie kind of ends, and they're together, and they have a fish tank, and the fish are in there, and okay, their lives are kind of in a lot of ways like the fish. Are they going to survive? Are they not? We don't know. It's up in the air, type thing. Um, but just like the fish, they're dependent on each other in order to survive, just like the fish are dependent on them in order for their own survival. So that's kind of how I interpret it anyway. But there's a lot of heavy drama stuff going on. I mean, you have the stuff with Kristen Wiig's character. She doesn't really want to have a baby, but she doesn't want to admit that to Luke Wilson, so she takes birth control pills on the sly. She also bangs all these instructors for all these classes she goes to because she just is a shitty, fucked up person. Um, and but I never got I never really hated her character, and I didn't I didn't. That's the thing. Some people didn't like these characters, and I can see why you wouldn't like the movie because you don't like the characters. But I never hated them. That she's got problems, she's fucked up, but I never really got the whole thing that, oh, she's a horrible person. I just got that she's made some horrible decisions, and she's needs to face them, and for her benefit. She's mad at her mother for being a bullshit artist and doing all these things about your chakras, and basically being a new age, chick, and just being full of shit. But then she's not, but she's doing the same thing. She's just about as much of a bullshit artist as her mom is, when she's just bullshitting her husband around. And things eventually come to a head when Bill Hader eventually kind of leads her husband into figuring out what's going on. She admits that she cheated on him, and Luke Wilson's character leaves. And he doesn't come back, and I like that about the film too. He does not come back. He just leaves, and that's it. And of course, that causes another rift in the relationship between her and her brother. And the film pretty much, she just tries to kill herself, and drown herself in a pool with some weights, and her brother comes in and saves her, just in time. And some people are trying to say, oh, it's up to interpretation. She's already dead, and her brother's dead, and this is all heaven. Well, no, I don't buy that. In fact, the director even admitted, I think, in a commentary, and there are even deleted scenes that pretty much said that no, that's not what happened. But the audience did not react well to some of these sequences that were in the film, like where he goes back to the house, finds that she's missing, and tries to call up some people, see what's going on, or the original phone call she gave to Bill Hader was saying basically, this is my last scuba class, and it was just basically pointing out that this is my last scuba class, I'm going to kill myself. And I guess audiences didn't like that. So the version that you see, the theatrical version, is more up in the air to add some suspense. And some people don't like it because they don't find it realistic, but it kind of works in with this sort of, they had this connection between each other. Uh, like when she was gonna kill herself, he did it already. He already tried to commit suicide, and she was about to do it at the same time. So, and they have these sort of visions with each other, sort of share these sort of things. So it seems like they have that kind of connection anyway. And it would make sense that he kind of put two and two together anyway. He knows her really well. He's heard about the scuba lessons she's gone to. He knows that that's the kind of thing that she's doing. He knows that she's banged a guy. He's trying to think about where she could go and do, commit suicide, where no one could really, there's no one there to stop her. And, we think, oh shit, the pool. It kind of makes sense that he would think of that, at least to me. And he finds it and saves her. And some people actually have read in reviews wanted her to die at the end, and I disagree with that. The film's already depressing and sad enough as it is. It's already realistic enough. It's already gritty enough. It already has enough it already gives you enough emotions. It doesn't need to have that boom, she dies ending. It didn't need that because I don't think that was the point of the film. Like I said, it's about showing how much these two need each other in order to survive in life. Having her die defeats the purpose of the film, in my opinion. So now, at the end of the movie, now they both try to commit suicide, and they both, in a way, saved each other, and they both have fucked up, shitty lives. And see, the ending isn't happy. It's just an ending. It's bittersweet all the way. It's definitely a bittersweet ending. It's like it's as happy as their lives could possibly be at the moment, but it's still pretty shitty. Her husband left her. She's, she's lost out on that. Bill Hader still got to deal with his teacher, who he still has feelings for, but he's kind of using him, and he's kind of being an ass, but he still has feelings for him. But he's also a guy who's a pedophile, who pretty much molested him but when he was younger, but he also at the same time allowed that to happen consensually. They have a mother who doesn't really care that much about them. She's basically just kind of one of those mothers who just doesn't give a shit. She checked out after her husband committed suicide. So they don't really have anyone else to be there to make them smile, to make them feel good other than each other. And I think that's the whole point of the film. If one of them died, that would ruin the whole dynamic of the movie. I wouldn't like the film if that's how it ended. I don't think that's the whole point of the film, period. Just a few moments where it is funny and it definitely does make you chuckle and puts a smile on my face is when they're together and they're making each other laugh like brothers and sisters do. Really one of my favorite scenes in the film is when Bill Hader, Milo starts lip syncing to Starship's "Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now," and then he's trying to get Kristen Wiig to join in, and eventually she reluctantly does, and then there's a moment of happiness that those two have briefly, and then scene later, Milo does something gets fucked up. He gets drunk because he realizes, his teacher friend who he thought actually did still love him is basically using him for a one night stand, and he gets drunk and all thinks about killing himself again. So it doesn't stay happy for very long, and so that's the kind of way it is with these characters' lives. They're fucked up. But, at the end of the movie, they're gonna try to work out their differences and try to unfuck up their lives together, which is the best thing for them. Because it seems like the only person, the only other person that can really help them is each other. They're the ones that make things better for one another. And and they understand each other's turmoils and each other's problems better than anyone. So that's kind of how I viewed the film, The Skeleton Twins. Um, I don't really know what else to say about the film, except for some other things. I it's I thought it went by at a decent pace. There's not a lot that goes on, but it's not that type of film. It's a 93-minute movie. It didn't feel too long to me. It definitely kept me engaged. I was definitely interested in the film. I thought Bill Hader was great. I also thought Kristen Wiig did a really good job with a dramatic performance. I'd probably say it's her best performance acting wise I've seen in any film, so I definitely got to give her credit for that. Ty Burrell did a good job in a supporting role, and I like Luke Wilson. Like he had some fun, witty banter, where he's just hanging out and talking to Milo. Some pretty, funny moments where he's talking to Milo and he's talking about how Kristen Wiig has these moments where she just has a landmine moments where she's really nice and we're getting along, and then boom, landmine. I don't know what I said, but bam, my balls are gone. I like that. I thought that was pretty funny, and it is something that a lot of people can relate to who have been in a relationship. So, especially between husband and wife, you find that one moment and everything's you're laughing and carrying on, and then boom, you hit a landmine and she's like, fuck you. And they're like, what the hell did I do? Like, now my balls are on the ceiling. Like, I don't know what the fuck. So yeah, there's definitely moments like that, and it was well directed, it was well edited, nice choice of indie music that they used every now and then for the soundtrack. um it deals with a lot of heavy subject matter and material, and very real issues, but it does them in a way that worked. It felt poignant. It felt actually, it did feel real to me. It didn't feel fake. It didn't feel, pretentious. It wasn't anything like that, and I appreciated that. The movie didn't wasn't pretentious at all to me, and I think that's for the film's benefit. It's a straightforward, realistic drama with a few funny moments, but for the most part, it's absolutely 100% a drama, and it's one of the more effective ones that I've seen as of late. So I don't know what else to say about the Skeleton Twins, except it was rated at 5 stars. I'd probably give it. I really like the film, and I don't really find any problems with it, to be honest. But at the same time, it's hard for me to rate because of the drama, and I don't know. This is one of those rare cases where I'm not gonna rate it yet. I'm just gonna be like, I liked it. I thought it was a really good movie for what it was. If you are curious about seeing Kristen Wiig and Bill Hader in serious dramatic roles, I would recommend the film, at least one watch. But if any of this subject material, any of this sort of stuff, hits a little bit too close to home to you and just sounds like something you don't want to watch, then I probably would recommend you don't watch it, because the last thing you want to do is, if you're feeling shitty, watch a movie that makes you feel even shittier. But if you're in the right mood for it and it does sound interesting to you, give it a look. But anyway, thank you for watching my review of the Skeleton Twins, and as always, I will see you guys later. See ya.